and how that all works. Okay, so there you go. All right, so taking a look at the back of these assignments, by the way, if you want some more information on what we just looked at, you can take a look at page 24. It explains all how you come to the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And page 25 in the How Do I Mark That book talks about how you can move the 1, 2, 3, or 4 onto the unit planner that we looked at earlier, and then how you might come to a letter grade. Notice how I'm saying might. Again, it's your professional autonomy. Okay, so and I'm now on page 26 in the How Do I Mark That book. We have the front and we have the back. Well, let's take a closer look at the back. Why did I develop the back here? Well, that's because if I just have the front, some kids might circle 4, 4, 4 all the way down because that's what they want. And you know, really their evidence of learning doesn't show 4 and 4 and 4. Other kids will do 1, 1, 1 when in fact it might be at a 2 or a 3. They're being perfectionists and being hard on themselves. So on page 27 I explain why I did this, and really why I did this was because it really helps kids, it pushes kids to justify why they put their learning where they think it should be. So for example, if the criteria number 1 is deep, then well, how did they show? I used different examples. I used historical examples, blah, blah, blah. Criteria number 2 might be accurate. I showed that criteria when I got this piece correct and that piece correct, and I moved correctly on to step number 4, and so on. So this helps kids justify their solutions. Well, the other templates that I have in the back of the book also deal with kids setting goals, and on page 35 I really think it's important to include this. I am learning to mark my own projects and others' projects, and I have a little 1 to 4 scale down. So if they get 9 and up, they get a 4 if that's one of the outcomes, and in fact it is an outcome that kids do self-assessment, so take a look in the IRPs to find that. And if they get between 7 and 8, it's a 3, and so on. But really what we want to do is we want kids, now here's the most crucial box here, is reasons for my mark. So take a look there. Is my mark based on the marking guide or on the givens? Do I describe with reasons? For example, some kids will say this, oh, I deserve a 3 here for reasons because I talk about how I have my name and date on it. I talk about how I had correct spelling or how I did it in 2 pages or so on. Well, that's about the must-haves, and that's good, but really we want them to give reasons based on the criteria. On page 36 you can see this back piece, and again you don't have to use all of these templates. I just put them in here because you might really like one of these and use it. I need to improve my learning in these areas and so on, but these might bog me down. I'll build a bridge towards my goal by. Okay, so for example, if a student rushes through things, that might bog them down. A bridge they'll build maybe would be to take more time to set the assignment up, or to plan their drawing, or to make an outline, and so on, right? So this really helps kids move past rushing it through. And on page 37 we see a goal to help me deepen my learning is, and so again, setting goals. Now the great thing about the marking guide, if you're looking at a marking guide, you can see that if a student gets a 1 or a 2 in one of the criterion, if they get a 1 or a 2, that's a goal. So pretend they did really good with logical, really good with accuracy or so on, but did poorly on convincing. Okay, well this is a goal now. How do they work on that? What are some reasons why they might move on and give convincing results, and so on? So those descriptors also become goals, which I think is a fantastic piece of this marking guide. So here we are at the end. We started off at the beginning with names down the side, all the different assignments across the top, letter grades, percentages, some things out of 23, some things out of 100, pop quizzes, labs, homework, essays, tests, and so on. Very confusing. And so what I tried to show you here was we start with the unit planner. We have the topic, big idea, outcomes, figured out ahead of time, and there are many ways to come to a 1, 2, 3, or 4. The way that this book shows most effectively is how to design a rubric which has criterion, must-haves, descriptors, scaled 1, 2, 3, or 4 until we get here. When we move the 1, 2, 3, or 4 at the bottom of the marking guide into the unit planner, then we can start reporting. So we start with the outcomes, move to the criteria, write the descriptors, 1, 2, 3, or 4. When appropriate, we involve students. Now, if you're looking at this book for the first time or this video and you're thinking, wow, where do I start? Think about how we break old habits and make new ones. And again, your kids will be thinking of this as well. And this is how they learn. This is how we learn. First, we contemplate. How am I going to make these changes? And so in this example, it might be how am I going to assess kids in maybe perhaps a different way than I'm used to? We are initiated. We watch this little video. We read the book. We're initiated. We try a couple of times. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it bombs. Oh my gosh, we're floundering. Then we practice. We try it again and again. And we start to make it our own. We tweak it slightly to make it our own. Then we build confidence. And then it becomes a habit. We start to do it. And in fact, here's a great thing. We can coach someone else. So I want you to see that it does work and it can work. And we can move from floundering onto coaching someone else and showing them how it works. And again, looking at this list, this also works with kids and how they're learning in our classroom. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to look at this video and to purchase the book and look through the book and do this with your class. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, email me at zappel.ca and look out for handouts which will support this book even more. Okay, thank you.